So, this is a hard one. Firstly, let's just talk about what makes an Avenger bad or good. So, we're going to ask two questions. Did they help solve the problem? And if they didn't, how strong are they? Solving a problem can either be something they did in the actual battle or crisis, or resources of theirs that they used, like Tony with Stark Industries or T'Challa with Wakanda. Let's get into the worst and best Avengers throughout phases 1 through 3. War Machine. So, the first is situational. Every Avenger serves a purpose, so we're going to consider any key roles a character played in stopping the bad guy. The second is strength, because some characters' shtick is just hitting pretty hard. We're only doing the Infinity Saga for this video, and we're sticking to people who were actually part of the Avengers, or else this video would be 3 hours long. That means no Asgardians, Dora Milaje, sorcerers, or anybody who fought alongside them. And we're starting with War Machine. This was a tough call. Rhodey is a U.S. Air Force officer and one of Tony Stark's closest allies. Before becoming a superhero, he was a military liaison between Stark Industries and the U.S. government, leveraging his longtime friendship with Tony. Rhodey gets his War Machine suit in Iron Man 2, which he uses to help Stark defeat Ivan Vanko and Hammer's drone army. I'm going to consider him an Avenger from the Battle of New York onwards, though. You might not know this, but Rhodey was actually called to New York during the entire invasion. Iron Man 3 Prelude Number 2 shows that Rhodes was investigating the Ten Rings, a terrorist organization, and their operations in Hong Kong, and fighting them. During this, Loki invaded and Tony called on him for help, but he couldn't make it. He shut down their Hong Kong activities and then immediately flew to New York, but by the time he got there, they were all eating shawarma. This is pretty much the most significant things James has done on his own. I mean, he's in pretty much every fight, and he has great moments with Tony, but besides that, he doesn't really bring enough raw firepower to warrant a higher spot, nor is he a critical piece of the puzzle in most of the films. He's great support, but that's about it. He did track Hawkeye down during the 5 years between the snap and the blip.
I mean, the scene that he left. I gotta tell you, there's a part of me that doesn't even want to find him.
But I'm not counting that as a notable achievement. He does leverage his military position and sort of acts as a bridge between the Avengers and the military, but honestly, even that area of his character isn't really too developed. This doesn't mean he's a bad Avenger, it just means the competition is pretty stiff. Falcon. If you count his activities post-Endgame, then Sam should be a lot higher on this list. But up until that, the most notable thing about Sam is that he's arguably the best aerial fighter in the Avengers. That and the fact that he helped stop Project Insight. This was a government-funded weapons program by S.H.I.E.L.D. that would prepare them for something like another Chitauri invasion, but it was taken over by Hydra. Project Insight had 3 heavily armed helicarriers capable of eliminating millions of targets who were anti-Hydra. If that happened, Hydra would essentially be well on its way to global domination or genocide, probably both. You never know with Nazis. Wilson also fights against Brock Rumlow, who later becomes Crossbones, and this is why Steve was able to implant new targeting chips into the helicarriers, which forced the helicarriers to target and destroy each other. So, yes, technically he was instrumental in avoiding millions of deaths, but again, it's one incident. The top spots on here are giving consistent performances. I could definitely see Falcon being a lot higher, especially if we consider his recent career as Captain America, but for now, I'm comfortably placing him at the bottom because he didn't do much against any major threat like Ultron or Thanos. Vision. Some of you might be wondering why Vision ends up below someone like Hawkeye. After all, on paper, Vision should be one of the most powerful Avengers. He's an artificial being created using Ultron's synthetic body, powered by the Mind Stone, and enhanced by Jarvis's consciousness. That gives him an incredible list of abilities: super strength, energy projection, density manipulation, and he's one of the smartest beings on the planet, probably even in the universe if he's used the Mind Stone correctly. In theory, he's one of the most dangerous fighters on the team. In practice, he rarely ever lives up to that potential. Even in Age of Ultron, his debut film, Vision only has a handful of moments where he really shows off what he can do. After that, his role becomes even smaller. In Civil War, he's mostly sidelined and ends up accidentally crippling War Machine during the airport battle. Then, after the Avengers split, Vision leaves the team entirely and spends most of his time in hiding with Wanda. Then, in Infinity War, most of the Wakanda battle was about protecting him from Thanos. I get that, it's a smart move. Keep him out of Thanos' reach, but he wasn't even able to do anything against him when Thanos was ripping the Mind Stone out of his head. So Vision gets a low ranking because he's hyped up to be a lot, but characters with much weaker power sets and skills do more than him. Hawkeye. I honestly think of heroes like Hawkeye as the Avengers' everyman heroes. They're just regular dudes fighting alongside gods, super soldiers, and cosmic beings. Hawkeye doesn't even have powered armor. He's raw-dogging apocalyptic events with a bow and arrow. And to be fair, Clint Barton is the best marksman on the planet. No one in the Avengers can match his accuracy, whether it's long-range sniping, trick arrows, or stealth missions. Barton is the team's go-to specialist when precision matters. He's also incredibly brave. In Thor, Barton was ready to take the shot at a literal god without hesitation. That tells you a lot about his mindset. He's willing to go one-on-one against beings infinitely more powerful than him. But when it comes to an Avengers-level crisis, Hawkeye's role is usually support rather than solution. In the Battle of New York, he provides overwatch, coordinates the team, and takes down Chitauri with explosive arrows. But he isn't the one closing the portal, stopping the invasion, or turning the tide of the fight. Compared to heroes like Tony Stark, Captain America, or even Natasha Romanoff, Barton rarely plays the decisive role in solving the core problem. Winter Soldier. Now we're getting into the middle rankings, and I can't think of a better person to start that than Bucky Barnes. As a Hydra-trained assassin enhanced with a super soldier serum, Bucky has strength, durability, and reflexes on par with Captain America. On top of that, he has decades of combat experience and a vibranium arm capable of delivering devastating blows. In pure hand-to-hand combat, Bucky is easily one of the most skilled fighters on the roster. We've seen him go toe-to-toe with Captain America multiple times, take on entire groups of enemies by himself, and hold his own against some of the strongest opponents in the MCU. He beat the crap out of Tony, although to be fair, he had Steve with him. But despite having the same skills and boosts, and even a vibranium weapon, just like Cap, his contributions are limited. And it makes sense, since for most of the Infinity Saga, Bucky is either being hunted or living in Wakanda while Shorty tries to remove his conditioning. He's essentially just another frontline soldier during the Battle of Wakanda, and it's really clear that he's out of his element. They really couldn't have found anything better than a rifle for him? Against aliens? With energy blasters? Come on, man. That doesn't mean he isn't dangerous. Bucky is still one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in the MCU, and he's earned his spot as one of the new Avengers, but that's about it. Honestly, in the Infinity Saga, he didn't have a lot going for him. Spider-Man. I'm placing Spidey higher on this list because despite how inexperienced and young he is, he actually pulls through most of the time. Peter Parker is one of the most naturally gifted heroes in the Avengers, and one of the strongest ones physically, even overpowering super soldiers as a teenager.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude!
He even put in some solid work against Thanos during the fight on Titan, and if not for Peter Quill, Spider-Man would have contributed a lot to stopping Thanos right there. When you combine his abilities, the super strength, healing, agility, and spider sense with Tony's advanced suits, you get arguably the most versatile Avenger there is. But he is limited by his inexperience. Spider-Man relied on Tony's guidance a lot.
Hey, Mr. Stark, what should I do?
What we discussed, keep your distance, web him up.
Okay, copy that.
And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of moments where he acts on his own. That's the whole point of him turning down a spot on the Avengers.
But I'm good.
You're good? Good. How are you good?
But I'd rather just stay on the ground for a little while. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
But his track record in the Infinity Saga, as impressive as it is for a teenager, isn't too spectacular outside of some solid support. The only reason I'm placing him above Bucky is because of how much he helped out in Infinity War and Endgame. Scarlet Witch. Wanda Maximoff is a lot like her boyfriend Vision, in that she has arguably the most potential out of anyone, but rarely any real display of it, although for vastly different reasons. Don't get me wrong, what Wanda has done is insane, and I don't think any other Avenger could pull off things like destroying an Infinity Stone. She's also stupidly strong. Thanos ran a 3 versus 1 against Thor, Cap, and Iron Man and didn't come out of that damaged. With Wanda, he was barely able to last a minute with her. look at him. I've never seen Thanos in that much pain. Even Kevin Feige confirmed that she could have killed him on her own. She also has great displays in Age of Ultron when she joins the team.
Get off the bridge!
She was leading the evacuation effort with Quicksilver, using her mind control to guide dozens of civilians safely away. By the way, she has no experience with any of this, which makes it even more impressive. Even Spidey had Tony to guide him. After that, she annihilated Ultron's sentries, protected the key, which if Ultron got his hands on it, he would have destroyed the planet. And she even got the final blow on Ultron. Except this is what caused Novigrad to fall. If Wanda had kept her cool for 3 more minutes and taken out that last bot, then Novigrad would have been safe. I get it, her brother just died, and she thinks it was all her fault, but her inexperience clearly showed. Now, let's talk about her ranking. Unlike Vision, Wanda barely has any control over her powers, and she doesn't really understand them, which is why her power is all over the place. But she was indeed a vital part of Sokovia, the Battle of Wakanda, and the final battle of Endgame. Besides that, her raw power is seriously something to consider. She's arguably one of, if not the strongest Avenger we've ever seen. I will say that if we considered her recent activities as the Scarlet Witch, she would be near the bottom, because Wanda was an Avengers-level threat herself. Captain Marvel. Carol is a walking powerhouse. She's probably top 5 or top 3 in terms of strength. She can fly through space without assistance, destroy massive warships on her own, and survive impacts that would kill almost any other Avenger. She's kinda like Thor in that her whole contribution is her strength. In Endgame, she single-handedly destroyed Thanos' flagship. Plus, there's this moment in Endgame Captain Marvel's legendary save here is the reason Thanos did not do a second snap and kill everyone all over again. The main reason she doesn't really rank higher is that she's rarely available. Carol spends most of her time responding to threats across the galaxy. Because of that, you'll rarely see her fighting alongside Earth's mightiest heroes. If she were around, Brand New World would probably be a lot shorter. Ant-Man. It is genuinely so hard to rank Ant-Man. He's not super strong, and he's barely been around since he was either trapped in jail or the quantum realm. But would Endgame even have happened without this guy? Absolutely not. Scott's idea to use the quantum realm led to the time heist in the first place, and before that, the Avengers genuinely had no idea what to do.
And now you want to pull a... what do you call it?
Time heist?
Yeah, time heist.
They thought it was the end. They lost, and it was all over. Scott was the one who came back and gave them a way out. And yeah, he wasn't the only one responsible for the time heist. But if Scott had never had the idea to use the quantum realm in the first place, the snap would have been permanent. But that's a lot of points coming from one single moment, even if it led to fixing the entire universe. Combat-wise, he's genuinely powerful as Giant Man, being able to take down a Leviathan in one blow. But besides that, what did Ant-Man really ever do? I know Infinity War happened in like 2 days, and he was on house arrest. But seriously? Everyone else has been in multiple major battles. Scott just doesn't have a lot on his resume, and the time heist itself is something that required multiple Avengers to pull off, even if he had the idea, which is why I can't put him any higher than this. Black Panther. In terms of pure power, T'Challa is just slightly below the top Avengers like Thor, Hulk, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Strange, and Captain Marvel. That still makes him incredibly strong. It was honestly really hard to rank him because he's given so much to the Avengers, and I genuinely think Endgame would have gone badly without the Wakandan army. Plus, I really think he would have done a lot more as an Avenger and with the Wakandan Outreach Center if he hadn't been snapped. He's got the skills, the tech, and the raw power. The Black Panther habit's ability to absorb kinetic energy easily puts him above most people in one-on-one, while giving T'Challa insane durability. T'Challa's own mastery of hand-to-hand means he can go up against people like Captain America casually. With T'Challa, it kind of is unfair, because it comes down to time. The top spots on the list have been around since the very beginning, whereas T'Challa joined around Civil War. He's a solid bro in a fight, but T'Challa truly shines as the king of Wakanda. He commands every resource in Wakanda, the most advanced nation on Earth. Let's just go through his record. He helped restore Bucky's mind with the help of Wakandan scientists. He opened Wakanda's resources to the rest of the world, a major win for Earth's advancement. In Infinity War, he led the defense against Thanos' invading army, and it's pretty much the only reason there was even a battle to begin with. He also fights on the front lines, leading the charge against the Outriders and fighting Thanos himself. Then in Endgame, the Wakandan army is 1/4 of the total Avengers forces. He also helps keep the gauntlet out of Thanos' hands. Overall, I think only Tony has given as much as T'Challa in terms of resources, which is why he's one of the highest on this list. Hulk. So, I actually think Bruce Banner's biggest wins come from when he's himself, not when he's the Hulk. As the other guy, he's one of the most physically powerful members of the team. When Banner transforms, there isn't anybody who can keep up with him, Avenger or not. Tony tried.
I'm sorry.
And we all know how that turned out. Thor did a lot better, though. Losing to a god isn't a stain on his record. In the Avengers' early battles, he's the team's heavy hitter, tearing through the Chitauri army, and taking down massive leviathans with a single punch. He overpowers Loki pretty easily, and it's the same in Age of Ultron. He did get a major beatdown against Thanos, though. He met someone his size who actually knew how to fight, and I know a lot of fans think this was bad writing, but it's what happens in the comics too. In Infinity War number 6, Thanos sends him flying with a single punch. In Thanos' Infinity Finale, the same thing happens. He gets humbled really badly. Thanos actually had to try harder in the movies than in the comics. But that's just his work as the Hulk. Bruce Banner's best achievements are when he uses his mind, not his muscles. Before becoming the Hulk, Bruce was already one of the world's leading scientists, specializing in gamma radiation and advanced physics. He helps track the Tesseract's gamma signature, allowing the team to locate Loki.
Supposed to be locating the Tesseract.
We are. The model's locked, and we're sweeping for the signature now. When we hit a hit, we'll have the location within half a mile.
He helps Tony create vision.
You want me to help you put Jarvis into this thing?
No, of course not. I want to help you put Jarvis in this thing.
People credit Tony with the invention of time travel, but Bruce actually helped a lot. By this point, he'd found a balance between himself and Hulk, leading to Professor Hulk.
18 months in the gamma lab. I put the brains and the brawn together. And now look at me. Best of both worlds.
Without Bruce, the time heist would have been impossible. And that's not the only thing. It's because Bruce learned control over his transformation that he was able to be in the Hulk form and reverse the snap.
But the radiation's mostly gamma. It's like, I was made for this.
This one act single-handedly revived trillions across the universe. When he's the Hulk, he actually is a liability. That's the entire point of Johannesburg, that the world saw the real Hulk. And when he can't transform, he becomes actual dead weight.
Mr. Banner, if the rest of your green friend won't be joining us.
So all of that being said, why is he in the middle? Because for half his run in the Infinity Saga, Bruce was an out-of-control rage monster. I mean, he's already fought 2 Avengers in a rage fight. His track record is split between being an unstable nuke and being one of the smartest and strongest Avengers on the team. The people with the top spots have consistent contributions throughout, and Bruce just doesn't have that kind of stability until way later. Doctor Strange. So with Strange, I'm going to consider him stopping Dormammu as a big point for him. He wasn't an Avenger by then, but he stopped an Avengers-level threat on his own.
Take your zealots from the Earth. End your assault on my world. Never come back. Do it, and I'll break the loop.
Now, as an Avenger, Strange's expertise and intelligence really shine. He got a quick grasp of the Thanos situation in like half an hour, locked in, helped out against Ebony Maw, and despite getting kidnapped and tortured by Ebony, He never let the stone fall into the wrong hands. He also has a solid sense of what needs to be done.
I'm not so sure we should. Under no circumstances can we bring the time stone to Thanos. I don't think you quite understand what's at stake.
No.
Strange is also incredibly skilled with the timeline part of the challenge. Strange then has to follow through on that plan, even giving up the stone. He analyzes over 14 million possible outcomes of the battle against Thanos and identifies the single future where the Avengers win. But figuring that out requires letting Thanos succeed in the short term. Strange knows the Avengers are going to lose the immediate battle, and he still commits to the strategy because it's the only path that ultimately leads to victory.
Why would you do that?
We're in the end game now.
Strange isn't just an excellent strategist, he's also a top-tier fighter. He's the only one who could take Thanos in a one-on-one. Strange counters multiple Infinity Stone attacks, uses every spell he has to restrain Thanos, and I'm pretty sure he nullified a black hole. Yeah, no one's doing that, ever. He's also really creative. He used his cloak to stop Thanos from using the gauntlet. Strange was even able to work together with the other Avengers in that fight, coming up with a portal idea which lets Star-Lord and Spider-Man get some solid hits in on Thanos. The most important moment comes after they lose the battle. Strange, using his knowledge of the future, realized that Tony was essential and exchanged the Time Stone for Tony's life. He tricked Thanos, secured the one future where the Avengers win, and got turned into dust soon after, which, honestly, that's GOAT status behavior. Strange also helped transport all of the Avengers' forces to their compound on Earth, and without Strange, the Avengers would have been flooded by Thanos' strike, which destroyed the foundations of a nearby lake. But most importantly, he signaled to Tony that this was the one future where they would win. This might seem small or symbolic, but think about it. In a high-stakes war, hesitation and panic are all you feel. This confirmed they were doing the right thing. Doctor Strange's strength isn't just his magic, it's his ability to make the right decision at the exact moment it matters most. That's exactly the kind of hero they needed. Also, he's just ridiculously powerful. Thor. The God of Thunder is easily one of the most powerful Avengers the team has ever had. As an Asgardian, Thor already possesses immense strength, durability, and longevity, but his true power comes from his ability to command lightning itself. He was essential against the Chitauri army, and during Age of Ultron, without Thor, Earth was gone. It's because Thor was there that Tony was able to destroy Novigrad and save Sokovia. He was also one of the only people capable of damaging Ultron. He also single-handedly stopped Malekith from using the Reality Stone to revert the universe to eternal darkness. During Ragnarok, Thor was also directly responsible for saving the Asgardians, who also participated in Endgame led by the Valkyrie. That's like dozens of cap-level soldiers, so it's no small feat. He also spends a lot of time advancing the relationship between the Asgardians and the Earthlings, even relocating them to Earth. After Ragnarok, he realized Mjolnir was never the source of his power, and when he gets Stormbreaker, he unlocks his full potential and turns the tide of the battle in Wakanda. But this is also where Thor kind of failed, badly. Thanos was right.
You should have gone for the head.
He had the opportunity to end Thanos right there. Now, I know the writers would never have done that, but you can't deny it was stupid of him not to go for a kill shot. He was the only guy overpowering Thanos. In Endgame, he's also indispensable as one of the Avengers' strongest assets. Together with Cap and Iron Man, he held Thanos off while their forces gathered, though they didn't know this was happening, and did a lot of damage to the Mad Titan. It's not the fact that he's one of the original 6 Avengers. Thor gets to be in the top 5 because he's always shown up when it counts. He's present in every major battle, has handled universe-ending threats in his movies, and used his strength to help and protect everyone around him, not just do a lot of damage. Black Widow. Alright, listen, before you guys riot, hear me out. Natasha gets a lot of hate for not having superpowers, but she's actually one of the most important Avengers, and I'm going to prove it to you. One of the best examples of her value is during the original Avengers. First off, she's responsible for recruiting Bruce. This guy was living a life of isolation until Natasha convinced him to become an Avenger. She also got to Loki, undetected. You know, master spy and all. Loki even said,
"There's not many people who can sneak up on me."
But she's also dangerously clever. She made a show of revealing her past to Loki, only so that Loki would reveal his actual plans.
Oh no. You brought the monster.
So, Banner. That's your play.
What?
Loki means to unleash the Hulk. Keep Banner in the lab. I'm on my way.
And yeah, that's really important because this guy can control minds. You want to be prepared for that, especially when his plan involved unleashing the one guy who falls for mind control really badly. During the Battle of New York, everyone put up a good fight, but come on, it was 6 against an army, at least until Natasha closed the portal, literally turning the whole battle against Loki. Granted, he was screwed anyway since Iron Man nuked the Chitauri Command Center, but this sealed the deal, literally. During Age of Ultron, Natasha is also the only one who can calm Bruce down and rein in the Hulk. That's a massive advantage. She's also revealed her location to the Avengers, which is how they even found Ultron's base. In The Winter Soldier, Natasha helps uncover Hydra's infiltration of S.H.I.E.L.D. She decrypts the drive Nick Fury recovered from the Lemurian star, revealing the existence of Project Insight and exposing Hydra's plan to eliminate millions of potential threats. After the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., she helps train the new team members, like War Machine with Steve Rogers, preparing them for future large-scale missions. And during the 5 years after Infinity War, Natasha is the only one leading the Avengers. She coordinates global operations, keeps the remaining heroes connected, finds Clint Barton, and is essentially the glue of the team. The entire world, Avengers included, is recovering from how badly they just lost, but Natasha is one of the only ones focusing on the next steps. During the Battle of Wakanda, she's one of the frontline fighters and even saves Wanda from being killed by Proxima Midnight. The Avengers had figured out how to get every stone except the Soul Stone, and Natasha made the ultimate sacrifice to attain it. This is what made the blip possible in the first place. Natasha doesn't have a lot to work with. She's got judo flips, guns, and stealth, but she makes some of the most important plays in the Infinity Saga. She's in every main conflict, helps considerably, and still fights despite being clearly outclassed. And her leadership was critical to the Avengers. Captain America. We're down to the top 2, and this was the toughest decision out of every character on here. With Steve, honestly, where do you begin? Is it his incredible battle IQ? Is it his ability to think about how to save lives during an alien crisis? It's not the strength, or the shield, or even the bravery. Steve Rogers has a heart like no one else. He's the moral fiber of the team, the one who can see beyond the technicalities, the complexity, and cut right to the heart of what's right or wrong. That's why he was so against signing off the Avengers to the UN in Civil War. And Steve was arguably right, too.
What if this panel sends us somewhere we don't think we should go? What if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't let us? We may not be perfect, but the safest hands are still our own.
He's the Avenger that puts in the most work, despite being outclassed in a lot of these battles. Whether it's going up against Ultron, saving every life he can in Sokovia, or sticking to his guns above everything else. That's why he's worthy of the hammer. He knew S.H.I.E.L.D. was corrupt. Hell, he's the one who exposed them.
But I think it's time you know the truth. S.H.I.E.L.D. is not what we thought it was. It's been taken over by Hydra.
But it's not just his incredible moral compass that puts him at the number 2 spot here. He's the field commander of the Avengers. He mobilized them all during the Chitauri invasion.
Barton, I want you on that roof. Eyes on everything. Call out patterns and strays. Stark, you got the perimeter. Anything gets more than 3 blocks out, you turn it back or you turn it to ash. Thor, you gotta try and bottleneck that portal. Slow him down.
You got the lightning.
Light the bastards up. You and me, we stay here on the ground. We keep the fighting here. And Hulk, smash.
Despite never having worked with the team before, he perfectly understood how to use everyone's skill sets, down to what roof to put Hawkeye on. He made a plan to fight off an army with 6 people. Even in the Battle of Wakanda, he's making key moves, diverting the forces to protect Vision and coordinating with everyone he can, all while beating down every single alien in sight.
Somebody get to Vision!
Let's talk a bit about Cap's strength. There's no super soldier like the guy. He's a lightning in a bottle situation. Do you know how hard it is to work with that shield? Sam could barely manage with it and had to train extensively to get the hang of it. But besides that, he exceeds the limits of what's possible for super soldiers many times, whether that's holding back a helicopter with one arm, or holding back Thanos with both. Honestly, if we talk about every single thing Steve's done throughout the Infinity Saga, this video would be 50 minutes longer. So instead, I'll just point you to this scene. One bloody, bruised, and battered man against an entire army. What does he do? He stands his ground. This moment defines Steve's character. He's always the guy making the sacrifice play. Almost anyone in his situation would have turned around and run, including most heroes, but not Captain America. His almost godlike willpower and stubbornness to do the right thing are why he's Captain America, and why he's one of the best Avengers, and it's why he's top 2 on this list.
I could do this all day.
Even Tony admits it.
Oh, actually, he's the boss. I just pay for everything and design everything and make everyone look cooler.
I know it sounds like a lot of glaze, and being straight with you, it is. But you can't define a guy like this by his power level or feats or the high IQ plays he makes. Captain America, at his core, is a reminder to do better, and Steve has put in the work every single time he's been on screen. Based on both his strength and leadership, I can't think of anyone who deserves the top spot more, except Iron Man. Tony Stark. There's no other way to put this. Tony Stark is the heart of the Avengers. Tony's ranking is earned through his evolution from a genius playboy who couldn't care about anything else but himself to a man who laid down his life for everyone else. And time again, he proved Steve wrong.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
He made the sacrifice play again and again when he drove a nuclear missile into a wormhole, not knowing if he'd make it out. He was the only one trying to lift Novigrad and the only one to take the full impact of the explosion. Tony was ready to lose it all against Thanos, if Strange had made a bargain for his life. And finally, the most iconic moment in the MCU. Again, if I talk about every single thing Tony has done, we're going to be here for hours. Tony's funded the team, designed their tech, provided their headquarters, cracked time travel, took on the job of solving global security, and so much more. Some might argue that Tony is responsible for many of the problems the Avengers faced, like Ultron. But being an Avenger is about how you handle the crisis when it arrives. Tony spent every waking second of his life after New York figuring out how to make Earth safer. He didn't have any powers. And honestly, I don't think he had been in a fight his entire life before Iron Man 1. But despite that, he's the gold standard of what it means to be an Avenger. With only his mind, will, and body, Tony saved the Earth dozens of times, and later, the entire multiverse. And that's why he's number 1 on this list. Honestly, making this list was stupidly hard, especially towards the end. And I know everyone's got their own opinions on who the top 5 are. So let's hear them. Who do you think should be numbers 1, 2, and 3? What are some spots you really disagree with? And what's your case for the bottom 5? Regardless of what we all think, you become an Avenger for a reason, because you deserve to be there, and every hero on this list earned their spot.